Welcome to the Bible is your secret sauce. So today we're going to be reading Exodus chapter 5 to chapter 9. Let's go. Exodus chapter 5. After this presentation of Israel leaders, Moses and Aaron went and spoke to Pharaoh. They told him, "This is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says. Let my people go, so they may hold a festival in my honor in the wilderness. Is that so? Restore Pharaoh, and who is the Lord? Why should I listen to him and let Israel go? I don't know the Lord, and I will not let the Israel go." But Aaron and Moses persisted. "The God of the Hebrews has met with us," they declared. "So let us take a 3-day journey into the wilderness so we can offer sacrifice to the Lord our God. If we don't, he will kill us with plagues or with the sword." Pharaoh replied, "Moses and Aaron, why are you distracting the people from their tasks? Get back to work. Look, there are many of your people in the land of you're stopping them from their work." That same day, Pharaoh sent his order to the Egyptian slaves, drivers, and the Israel foremen, "Do not supply any more straws for making bricks. Make the people get them themselves, but still require them to make the same number of bricks as before. Don't reduce the quota. They are lazy. That's why they are crying out, 'Let us go and offer sacrifice to our God.' Load them down with the more work. Make them sweat, that I will teach them to listen to lies." So the slaves, drivers, and foremen went out and told the people, "This is what the Pharaoh said. I will not provide any more straws for you. Go and get it yourself. Find it wherever you can, but you must produce just as many bricks as before." So the people scattered through the land of Egypt in search of stumbling to use the straw. Meanwhile, Egyptian slave drivers continued to push hard. "Make your daily quota of bricks, just as you did when they provided you with straws," they demanded. Then they whipped the Israel's foremen, and they had put it in charge of the work crews. "Why have you met your quota either yesterday or today?" they demanded. So the Israel foremen went to Pharaoh and pleaded with him. "Please don't treat your servants like this," they begged. "We have given you no straws, but the slave drivers still demand big bricks. We are being beaten, but it's not our fault. Your own people are to blame." But Pharaoh shouted, "You are just lazy. That is what you're saying. Let us go and offer sacrifice to the Lord, and get back to work. Now no straws will be given to you, but you must still produce the full quota of bricks." Then Israel foremen could see that they were in serious trouble when they were told, "You must not reduce the number of bricks you have made each day." As they left Pharaoh's court, they confronted Moses and Aaron, who were waiting outside for them. The foreman said to them, "May the Lord judge and punish you for making us stink before Pharaoh and his officials. You put it as sword into their hands, an excuse to kill us." Then Moses went back to the Lord and protested, "Why have you brought all of this trouble to your own people, Lord? Why did you send me? Ever since I came, Pharaoh has your spokesman. He has been even more brutal to your people, and you have done nothing to rescue them." Exodus chapter 6. Then the Lord told Moses, "Now you will see what I will do to Pharaoh. When he feels the force of my strong hand, he will let the people go. In fact, he will force them to leave his land." And God said to Moses, "I am Yahweh, the Lord. I appeared to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob as a Shaddai, God Almighty, but I did not reveal my name, Yahweh, to them. And I reaffirmed my covenant with them under his terms. I promised to give them the land of Canaan where they were living as a foreigners. You can be sure that I have heard the groans of the people of Israel who are now slaves in Egyptians, and I am well aware of the covenant with them Therefore, say to the people of Israel, I am the Lord, and I will free you from your oppressions, and I will rescue you from your slavery in Egypt. I will redeem you with a powerful arm and great acts of judgment. I will claim you as my own people, and I will be your God. Then you will know that I am the Lord your God. God has freed you from your oppressing in Egypt. I will bring you into the land I swore to give Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. I will give it to you as your very own possession, and I am the Lord. So Moses told the people of Israel what the Lord has said, but they refused to listen to anyone. Then they had become so discouraged by brutality of the slavery. Then the Lord said to Moses, Go back to Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, and tell him to let people of Israel leave his country. But Lord, Moses objected, My own people won't listen to me anymore. How can I expect Pharaoh to listen? I'm such a clumsy speaker. But the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron and gave them orders for the Israelites and for Pharaoh, the king of Egypt. The Lord commanded Moses and Aaron to lead the people of Israel out of Egypt. These are the ancestors of all the clans of Israel. The sons of Reuben, Israel's older sons, were Anah, Palu, Elson, Carmi. Their descendants became the clans of Reuben. The sons of Simeon were Jubal, Jamin, Anah, Jakin, Sahor, and Shaul. Shaul's mother was the Canadian woman. Their descendants became the clans of Simeon. These are the descendants of the Levi as listed in their family records. The sons of Levi were Shashon, Kohat, Merari. Levi lived to be 137 years. The descendants of Jeroham included Limni, Shimei, each who became the ancestors of the clan of the descendants of Qanat included Amaram, Ishar, Hebron, and Uzziel. Canaan lived to be 133 years old. Then the descendants of Merari included Mali and Mushi. These are the clans of the Levites and listed in their family records. Amaram married his father's sister Josheba, and she gave birth to his son Aaron and Moses. Amaram lived to be 137 years old. The sons of Israel were Korah, Nephi, and Zechri. The sons were Mashil, Elaphan, and Siri. Aaron married Elishabi, the daughter of Aminabah, sister of Nahshon, and she gave birth to his son Nadab, Abihu, Eliezer, and Daramar. The sons of Korah were Asir, Elkanah, and Abisabah. Their descendants became the clans of Korah. Eliezer, son of Aaron, married one of the daughters of Putiel and gave birth to his son Phinehas. These are the ancestors of the Levite families listed according to their clans. Aaron and Moses' name in this list are the same ones to whom the Lord said, Lead the people of Israel out of the island of Egypt like an army. It is Moses and Aaron who spoke to Pharaoh, like king of Egypt, about leading the people of Israel out of Egypt. When the Lord spoke to Moses in the land of Egypt, he said to him, I am the Lord. Tell Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, everything I am telling you. But Moses argued with the Lord, saying, I can't do it. I am such a clumsy speaker. Why should I, Pharaoh, listen to me? Exodus chapter 7. Then the Lord said to Moses, Pay close attention to this. I will make you seem like God to Pharaoh, and your brother Aaron will be your prophet. Tell Aaron everything I command you, and Aaron must command Pharaoh to let the people of Israel leave his country. But I will make Pharaoh's heart stubborn so I can multiply the miracles, signs, and wonders in the land of Egypt. Even Pharaoh will refuse to listen to you. So I will bring down the first of Egypt, and I will rescue from my forces my people of Israel from the land of Egypt with great acts of judgment. When I raise my powerful hands and bring out Israel, the Egyptians will know that I am the Lord. So Moses and Aaron did just as the Lord has commanded them. Moses was 80 years old and Aaron was 83 years when they made their demands to Pharaoh. Then the Lord said to Moses and Aaron, Pharaoh will demand, show me a miracle when he does this. So to Aaron, take your staff and throw it down in front of Pharaoh, and it will become a serpent. So Moses and Aaron went to Pharaoh and did what the Lord has commanded them. Aaron threw down the staff before Pharaoh and his officials, and it became a serpent. Then Pharaoh called in his own wise men, sorceries, and these Egyptian magicians did the same thing with their magic. They threw down their staff, which also became serpents. But the Aaron staff swallowed all their staff. Pharaoh's heart, however, remained hard. He still refused to listen, just as the Lord has predicted. Then the Lord said to Moses, Pharaoh's heart is stubborn, and he still refused to let the people go. So go to Pharaoh in the morning as he go down to the river, stand on the bank of the Nile and meet him there. Be sure to take along the staff that turns into a snake. Then announce to him, the Lord, the God of the Hebrews, has sent me to tell you, let my people go so they can worship me in the wilderness. Until now you have refused to listen to him. So this is what the Lord said, I will show you that I am the Lord. Look, and I will strike the waters of the Nile with this staff in my hand, and the rivers will turn to blood. The fish, it will die, and the rivers will stink. The Egyptians will not be able to drink any water from the Nile. Then the Lord said to Moses, tell Aaron, take your staff and raise your hand over the waters of Egypt. All of the rivers, canals, ponds, and all of the rivers turn all the waters to blood. Every Egyptian, the water will turn to blood, even the water stored within bowls and stone pots. So Moses and Aaron did just as the Lord commanded them. As Pharaoh and all of the officials watched, Aaron raised his staff and struck the water of the Nile. Suddenly the whole river turned to blood. Then the fish, the river died, and the water became so foul that the Egyptians could not drink it. There was blood everywhere throughout the land of Egypt. But again, the magicians of Egypt used their magic, and they too turned water into blood. So Pharaoh had remained hard. He refused to listen to Moses and Aaron, just as the Lord has predicted. Pharaoh returned to his palace and put the whole thing out on his mind. Then all of the Egyptians dug along the river to find drinking water, for they could not drink the water from the Nile. 7 days passed from the time the Lord struck the Nile. Exodus chapter 8. Then the Lord said to Moses, go back to Pharaoh and announce to him, this is what the Lord said, let my people go so they can worship me. If you refuse to let them go, I will send a plague of frogs across your entire land. The Nile River will swim with frogs. They will come up with the river into your palace, even into your bedrooms and onto your bed. They will enter the house of your officials and your people. They will even jump into your ovens and your knees pulled. Frogs will jump on you. You will on your people and all of your officials. Then the Lord said to Moses, Tell Aaron, raise the staff in your hand over all of the rivers, canals, and ponds of the Egypt, and bring up the frogs all over the land. So Aaron raised his staff over the waters of the Egypt, and the frogs came up and covered the whole land. But the magicians were not able to do the same thing with their magic. They too caused frogs to come up at the land of Egypt. Then Pharaoh summoned Moses and Aaron and begged, plead with the Lord to take the frogs away from me and my people. I will let your people go so they can offer sacrifice to the Lord. When you set time, Moses replied, tell me when you want me to pray for you, your officials, and your people. Then you and your houses will be rid of the frogs. There will remain only in the Nile River. Do it tomorrow, Pharaoh said. All right, Moses replied, I will be as you have said. Then you will know that there is no one like the Lord our God. The frogs will leave you and your house your houses, your officials, and your people. They will remain only in the Nile River. So Moses and Aaron left Pharaoh palace, and Moses cried out to the Lord about the frogs he had inflicted in Pharaoh. And the Lord did just what Moses had predicted. The frogs in the houses, the courtyards, and the fields all died. The Egyptians piled them into a great heaps, and the terrible stench filled the land. But when Pharaoh saw that the relief has come, he became stubborn. He refused to listen to Moses and Aaron, just as the Lord had predicted. So the Lord said to Moses, "Tell Aaron, rest your staff and strike the ground. The dust will turn into straw and snags and throughout the land of Egypt." So Moses and Aaron did just as the Lord had commanded them. When Aaron raised his hand and struck the ground with his staff, snags infected the entire land, covering the Egyptians and their animals. All the dust in the land of Egypt turned into gnats. Pharaoh magicians tried to do the same thing with their secret hands, but this time they failed, and the gnats cover everyone, people and animals alike. This is the finger of God, the magicians exclaimed to Pharaoh. But Pharaoh's heart remained hard. He will not listen to them, just as the Lord had predicted. The Lord told Moses, "Get up early in the morning and stand in Pharaoh's way, and he goes down to the river. Say to him, 'This is what the Lord said, let my people go so they can worship me. If you refuse, I will send swarms of flies on you and your officials, your people, and all of the houses. The Egyptians' home will be filled with flies, and the ground will be covered with them. But this time I will spare the regions of Gohan where my people live. No flies will be found there. Then you will know that I am the Lord, and I am present even in the heart of your land. I will make a clear distinction between my people and your people. This miraculous sign will happen tomorrow." And the Lord did just as he had said. A thick swarm of flies flied Pharaoh's palace and the house of his officials. The whole land of Egypt was thrown into chaos by the flies. Pharaoh called for Moses and Aaron, "All of the right, go ahead and offer sacrifice of your God," he said, "but do it here in this land." But Moses replied, "That will not be right. The Egyptians did its sacrifice that were offered to the Lord our God. Look, if we offer our sacrifice here where the Egyptians can see us, they will stun us. We must take 3 days trip into the wilderness to offer sacrifice to the Lord our God, just as he has commanded us." "All right, go ahead," and Pharaoh replied, "I will let you go into the wilderness to offer sacrifice to the Lord your God, but don't go too far away. Now hurry and pray for me." Moses answered, "As soon as I leave, I will pray to the Lord, and tomorrow the swarms of flies will disappear from you and your officials and all of the people. But I'm warning you, Pharaoh, don't lie to us again and refuse to let the people go to sacrifice the Lord." So Moses left Pharaoh's palace and pleaded with the Lord to remove all of the flies. And the Lord did as Moses asked and caused the swarms of flies to disappear from Pharaoh, his officials, and his people. Now a single fly remained, but Pharaoh again became stubborn and refused to let the people go. Exodus chapter 9. "Go back to Pharaoh," the Lord commanded Moses. "Tell him, 'This is what the Lord, the God of Hebrews, said. Let my people go so they can worship me. If you continue to hold them and refuse to let them go, then the hand of the Lord will strike you all. Livestock, your horses, donkeys, camels, cattle, sheep, and goats with deadly plagues. But the Lord will again make a distinction between the livestock of the Israelites and the Egyptians. Not a single one of the Israel animals will die. The Lord has already set the time for the plague to begin. He has declared that he will strike the land tomorrow. And the Lord did not just as he has said. Next morning, all of the livestock of the Egyptians died, but the Israelites did not die. Lose a single animal. Pharaoh sent his officials to investigate, and they discovered that the Israelites had not lost a single animal, but even so, Pharaoh's heart remained stubborn, and he still refused to let the people go. Then the Lord said to Moses and Aaron, "The handful soot from a brick clean," and Moses tossed it into the air while Pharaoh watches. The ashes will spread like a fine dust over the whole length of Egypt, causing festers of boil to break out on people and animals throughout the land. So they took soot from the bricks clean and went and stood before Pharaoh. As Pharaoh watched, Moses threw the soot into the air, and boils broke out on people and animals alike. And even the magicians were unable to stand before the Moses, because the boils had broken out on them and all of the Egyptians. But the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart, and had just as the Lord had predicted to Moses, Pharaoh refuses to listen. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Get up early, tell him, this is what the Lord, the God of Israel, has said. Let my people go so they can worship me. If you don't, I will send more plagues on you and your officials and your people. Then you will know that there is no one like me in all of the earth. By now I could not lift my hands and struck you and your people with plague to wipe you off the face of the earth. But I have spread you as for a purpose, to show you my power, and to spread my fame throughout the earth. But you still lord it over all my people and refuse to let them go. So tomorrow at this time I will send a hailstorm more devastating than any of the old history of Egypt. Quick, order your livestock and servants to come in front of the fields to find shelter, and any person or animal left outside will die when the hail falls." Some Pharaoh officials were afraid because of what the Lord had said. They quickly brought their servants and livestock in from the field. But those who paid no attention to the word of the Lord left theirs out in the open. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Lift your hands towards the sky, so hail may fall on the people, the livestock, and all of the plants throughout the land of Egypt." So Moses lifted his hands towards the sky, and the Lord sent the thunder and hail and lightning flashing toward the earth. The Lord sent a tremendous hailstorm against all of the land of Egypt. Never in all history of Egypt had there been a storm like that, with such a devastating hail, continuous lightning, and it left all of the Egyptians in ruin with the hailstorm. Everything in the open field, people, animals, and plants alike, even trees, were destroyed. The only place without hail was the region of Gohan, where the people of Israel lived. When the Pharaoh quickly saw Moses and Aaron, this time I have sinned, he confessed. "The Lord is the righteous one, and my people and I are wrong. Please beg the Lord to end the terrifying thunder and hail. We have enough. I will let you go. You don't need to stay any longer." "All right," Moses replied. "As soon as the Lord, then the thunder of hail will stop, and you will know that the earth belongs to the Lord. But I know that you and your officials still do not fear the Lord God." All of the flax and barley were ruined by the hail, because the barley had formed heads and the flax was budding, but the wheat and the emmer wheat were spared, because they had not yet sprouted from the ground. So Moses left Pharaoh's court and went out of the city. When he lifted his hands to the Lord, the thunder and the hail stopped, and the downpour ceased. But when Pharaoh saw that the rain, hail, and thunder stopped, he and his officials sinned again, and Pharaoh again became stubborn. Because his heart was hard, Pharaoh refused to let the people leave, just as the Lord had predicted through Moses. This is Exodus chapter 5 to chapter 9. I will see you in the next video. Let's go.